Okay, so today we're going to work on the street. I'm going to ask everybody to mute themselves, please. Okay. All right, so I'm going to use, for the ground here, I'm going to use burnt umber, ultramarine violet, or dioxazine purple, and white. Burnt umber is a warm color. Ultramarine violet or dioxazine purple are cool colors. So we can have a combination of both for the ground right here around the car. And we want the color to be neutral enough for us to be able, to see the card when we start working on the card, because the card is the focal point. So this color here is a good combination for both. Both, cool and warm. Burnt umber being a warm color, and dioxazine or ultramarine violet is a warm, cool color, and some white, and just dab across with a bright brush. Just dab across. Try to create some kind of a texture. Doesn't have to be strong texture, but a texture that will give us a bit of kind of a shape of road, country road. We're going to do this, and then we will highlight a little bit after. And it doesn't matter. Sometimes you will mix the mixture and you'll see more purple in it, and sometimes you'll see more brown. It doesn't matter. It's okay. Now this is supposed to be the darkest part. Like this color that I'm putting here is good for the shadow part. But for now, I am putting first layer. I will highlight this first layer, and then, or actually, you know what we can do? We can do this. We can do this as well inside. The only reason is I don't want to lose the shape of the shadow. But we can do this. And then highlight the outside. I just want to make sure that I have the right values in here. So at the end, when I start working on the color of the card, the background colors will not show too much. Because the card is the focal point. So I'm darkening a little bit here underneath the card with my colors. Less white, more of the burnt umber and the purple. And you'll see once we start highlighting, we will get more texture. Good. If you see a bit of brown from the color that we put originally, it's okay. when we primed the canvas, we primed it with dark brown. And if you see that showing through what the colors we're putting on right now, that's okay. I added a bit of white on this side. This is going to dry darker. I get close to the shadow area and then go around. And I will adjust the value once the paint is dry. Also, sometimes when we're painting, texture might take over as well. I mean, it will take over in terms of take over. It over, will if the texture is too strong around the focal point, it might not be a good thing. So sometimes you want to just kind of calm it down a bit. So when we start working on the focal point, we can see there's nothing that is fighting with this, with the focal point. It's very sunny outside. I can't control the light in here. Can take a little bit more of the burnt umber, put white, a little bit of white, not much, just a tiny bit, and add a bit of burnt umber around. So just to make the color a little bit warmer. It's drying very cool, showing the purple more. Than the brown. Okay, that's good. All right, let's do the other side. Awesome. So now I'm going to highlight the other side. Okay, good. Let it dry a bit, and then we will highlight a little bit more here and there, patches of highlights, and that will be done. All right, I'm gonna let this dry, so I'm gonna stop recording for now. Okay, so now I'm adding white. I added white to the same colors we were using before, so I'm gonna start highlighting. And we can add, you know, instead of white, we can add, actually, which maybe it would be a really nice idea to put Naples yellow in here. So some yellow in there instead of white. Okay, let's try. We'll see how it goes. A bit of a warm color in here. Especially, you know, the yellow with purple. Yeah, I think it's a great idea. All right, let's do that. Let's leave some dark areas like this. It's much more interesting than have covering the whole thing. A little bit of dabs of sunny areas. Or shadow areas, I should say. And we'll see. If it's too much, then we'll tone it down. Not tone it down, actually. Maybe get rid of those little dabs. If it looks too messy, or not messy, busy, I should say. Okay. Maybe, yeah. Okay. Let's continue. Again, I'm thinking of the whole picture after. You know, I'm thinking that then we're going to work on the luggage up here. There will be a lot of detail. Do I want the background to be busy, or do I want it to be soft, not too overwhelming? I'm just toning down these little details or shadows that I left. I'm just toning them down. All right, good, good. Okay, let's continue. That looks good. Another one. I'll put some Naples. Let's put a bit of white as well. Touch, but mostly Naples. Naples yellow with burnt umber and ultramarine violet. my color or my paint is not too thick, so it's a bit of because there's water. I use I'm putting a bit of water in there. It's more like a soft glaze. This way, when it dries, I can still see the purple underneath, and it will tone down the yellow that I'm putting on top, which is Naples Yellow. So when you have a glaze, you allow the color underneath to show through. All right, good. All right, let's get rid of these. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is take a smaller brush, same, it's bright or flat, and use the same color I'm using. I mixed with the Naples Yellow, Ultramarine Violet, and Burnt Umber. Less of the Naples Yellow, because I'm going to come here, and then what I'm going to do is soften a bit the shadow so it doesn't look flat. Give that underneath the card, it's going to be darker than outside around the card. I still want it to be dark. I don't want it to be light, but not as dark as underneath the card. That's why I'm adding a tiny bit of Naples Yellow. And it doesn't have to be everywhere. Shadows have values too. All right, it's good. I'm gonna let it dry and then I'll adjust it a bit. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm mixing the same color right now. Same color as the background here, the highlighted background. I'm gonna put, before I move on, a couple of little dots of light in the shadow area, just to make the shadow area a little bit more not as heavy and dark, just like make it a little bit light and that has movement and texture, because it's dark, it's really dark in here, which is fine. That's what we want. But this is really nice to put a little bit of texture. Some of this texture is, or these brush strokes are the actual light in there, highlight or light, and the others are like pebbles, little pebbles that you see on the road, little ones. They're not round, they're more kind of dots, small ones. Some of them are more highlighted than others, and some of them will be darker, some of them lighter. Okay, not too much. That's enough. Let's do one more thing. I have a round brush. I'm going to take brown, burnt umber, and ultramarine violet. Mix them. No white. And I'm going to paint the tires. So I'm going to paint them dark, brown, also in here. That's the inside, the side of the tire. So this is the front and this is the side. This little extra I'm putting in here. Now, with the same brush, or maybe a smaller one, still round, I'm going to take brown and I'm going to add a little bit of Naples Yellow to the brown. Just brown and Naples Yellow. And I'm going to give the tires a little bit of detail in here. If eventually I need to darken this part, I will darken it, the inside of the tire. But I think it's okay for now. Just gonna use a glaze and glaze the bottom of the tire a bit. I still want to see those lines, but I just want to tone them down at the bottom, because this way I can see the that the tires curve, they curve in. Actually, I need here a very darker than what I'm using. This is, I was starting to play around with the color of the car, and this is phthalo blue I mixed phthalo blue with Naples Yellow to get the color of the car, but we'll get to this. I'm going to use some of the phthalo blue I have here. If you want, use the same so you don't have to squeeze a color that you're not going to use. It's just because it's blue and it's dark. I'm going to use phthalo blue and I'm going to put brown in it, burnt umber right here. And let's see. And then just give this a little bit of a, where the tires are. Yeah, I think it's good. Just the inside of the tire, sideways, should be a little bit darker. And where it rests, it sits on the ground, it should have a little bit of a darker shadow in there. Okay, now let's go back to the highlighted part of the brown and the part that we did right here. And because it's dry now, I'm going to highlight it a little bit more, but not all the way down, in the center, in the middle. Okay, let's keep this for now. Leave it alone. We can adjust values after if we find that it needs to be adjusted. I'm going to stop for now. Okay, so we're good for this week. We're going to stop here, and next week we'll start working on the color of the car. Didn't want to start the car right now because we need to take our time with some of the reflections and the details. So next week we'll start the car, and yeah, it's a short session this time, but that's okay.